welcome to the Summer Tapes.
Oh, you were going with the melody there.
Oh, sure.
You're going with a little song.
I try. I'm a sing-songy gal. I can't help
We're in a
it.
sing-songy mood today.
I'm just in a little sing-songy mood with
Yeah.
my little cup of coffee. I can't help it.
Which makes sense for the case we'll be covering, because
Uh-huh.
there's not like music in it, but there's like songs. Yeah. Well, no, there's not songs.
Stop! Did you just spoil it?
No, I didn't
Logan, I think
spoil
you
it.
just spoiled it. Because I think I know what it is now. I'm not going to say it if I think it is. But
No, I think you're completely wrong. I think I'm effing around.
what do you think I think it is?
I have no idea what your thing is. You're like witches.
No.
The Summer Tapes episode 1 is about witches.
Why have we never done a case on witches? Wait, Salem witch trials. Haha. Not haha to the Salem witch trials. Haha to we did the case.
We're very sorry for that.
To the Salem witch trials.
I know a friend who is going to Salem for vacation. Like,
I'm
she's
so
going
mad.
next
I
week.
want to go. I want to
Really?
go in October. I like joked about it for like my bachelorette party thing, but
Are we
no-
going to
no one-
Salem for
no
your
one wants to
bachelorette
go.
party?
it's too expensive.
Is it though? It seems like it's a cheap place to vacation because
I
it's a town of
know.
only like 3,000.
But I want to go in October. So-
which is like the rates are gonna be really
I
high.
dig my own graves
Oh.
because it's too expensive.
Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, the person who's going, she's going the same weekend as they do their Pride, which I didn't even know Salem had a Pride.
They
which
probably
is
got
really
a fun
cute.
pride.
I could see people dressing up as like rainbow witches and stuff.
That's gonna
like,
be so cute.
I feel like it would be a really cute thing to do.
Aw.
So
Happy Pride from the Mystery Files.
Yes.
Yes.
we're celebrating the first episode of season 3 of the Summer Tapes. Can you believe we've done this for 3 years now?
That's wild. We've been partying hard.
It's just like wild to think about because the Summer Tapes, if anyone doesn't know, came from quarantine. Like,
Mhm.
because we were in the middle of a season, and the
Yeah.
Summer Tapes is what turned us into a podcast.
It did because we couldn't do the
That's
radio
when we
show.
started like posting it.
Yeah,
and
well,
airing
didn't weren't we not able to go to do the actual radio show because they wouldn't let a certain amount of people in there or something? So we had to
Yeah.
go to the podcast suites.
Yeah, and also our university was shut down, so like they
Mhm.
weren't letting anybody in. So
Then we had to record on your phone.
yeah,
Aw.
back in the day.
And
we
those
used to do
videos are on
voice
YouTube.
memos. They are on YouTube.
Go check them out on our YouTube channel, guys.
Yeah. Then we did that little photo shoot at the state park, which was
Yeah.
really cute.
So
By the
cute.
time this episode is up, everyone will know the marketing for us is that little cute ice cream parlor we did.
Yes, it's really cute.
Yeah.
Go check it out if you haven't yet. It's gonna be fantastic.
That's one of my favorite things about doing the Summer Tapes. I like when we do like the Mystery Files as well, but I
Yeah.
love whenever we do like such high concepts for the Summer Tapes because we make
Yeah.
such a big deal about it. We're so dramatic about
We
it.
can't help it. That's our personalities.
And hopefully this season we'll get to do more episodes than like, God, I think it was only like 6 last year because
Yeah.
it was more my schedule because of work
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff.
Well, I think then I was also working on that show too for a
Oh,
hot sec
yeah,
there,
you
so I had
were.
no time except for
Mhm.
sometimes on the weekends.
Yeah,
But even then, I was
but
like,
then I worked weekends at that job and
Yeah. It was like I worked 12-hour days Monday through
Mhm.
Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday I was like, I need
yeah.
time. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to get into it. It's just it's my favorite time of the year, and the case I picked for us is very summery, and I've hinted at it for
Mm.
quite a while.
Logan, I think I know what it is.
I don't think you do.
No, I literally think I do though.
But like I lied about the songs. They don't sing. They kind of just
I
project
think
volume.
I think I know. Logan, you're literally telling me what it is.
Okay, why don't you give me a little drum roll?
Okay.
For the first case for the Summer Tapes, we will be discussing the case of woo! We're doing werewolves, baby.
Oh, you really said that's not what I thought it was.
What did you think?
I thought it was one of those sirens.
Oh.
But can you see where I got that though?
Well, I did mention songs. I did say.
And you said one other thing. What was the other thing you said that I was like, that's literally a siren though?
Maybe I said that to throw you off, though. Maybe I was.
But it's while we were talking here. Someone play back the clip. When you listen to this, look at it from the mindset of that's a siren. You know what I mean.
Maybe
But
I'm a liar, though.
watch it sirens, and you just said werewolves to throw me off.
Well, everyone's gonna see the title of this episode as werewolf, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's talking about werewolf."
Oh, they're gonna see it sirens and be like, they goofed him with the wolf part.
What if I post this episode and like we discuss sirens and then it's like false advertising?
That'll be funny. They're
We
like,
gotta,
oh, we're
we
learning
gotta talk
more.
about sirens yet, because we talked about, like, mermaids, like, a few months
That's
ago,
why I
feel
was like, this is pretty soon, but you do you, I guess.
No, I've been hitting at wanting to do werewolves for a while. I literally
have.
said to you, I was like, I really want to do werewolves, maybe for the summer tapes.
Oh yeah, teehee. I pay attention sometimes. I can't help it.
But yes, werewolves. I'm very excited.
Oh.
One thing I want to talk about before we jumped into the case is, what was your first experience with a werewolf? Because I know what, like, mine was, and I want to know what yours
Well,
is.
I have two. The earliest I can remember, and one is not even that early. But the first thing is the Alvin and the Chipmunks werewolf. Do you ever see that one? Where
yeah.
what's his face? Theodore turns into a werewolf.
Yeah, that's a good one. And
It's
they
really
perform
cute.
the play, and it's like Jekyll and Hyde, and he's
it's
like,
so cute.
like, Theodore, what are you doing?
And he's like, but he's so cute. So that, and then if you ever watched that Victoria Justice movie, the
oh my god, the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah. But like, why is it kind of cute in its own way? It's really bad, but I won't stop watching it.
Oh my god.
No one can stop me.
That's so funny. Oh my god. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. What
that
are
one's
yours?
so funny. So my first one
I'm scared.
was the VHS tape of Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
That's the one where they like go to the like Transylvania.
Yeah.
And then they have like, it's like a car chase movie, like it's a race. And then he turns into a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first time, I think, like, recognizing what a werewolf was.
Yeah.
I was like 4 years old watching that, and I was like, that's a werewolf.
What about, isn't there also Scooby-Doo, like, Scare School that has, like, the girl werewolf?
Yeah,
and
well,
the ghost?
I think Scare School came from Reluctant Werewolf.
Oh, okay. I do not remember the timeline.
No, that's a different movie, but I used to watch this one and that one. 13 Ghosts, I think is what it's
13
called.
Ghosts. Cute. Yeah.
But I thought it'd be so like cute to talk about because I just, like, that movie just holds a special place in my heart because my parents and my older sister would just play it on VHS when they wanted to shut me up.
They said, calm Logan down.
It's probably my favorite Scooby-Doo movie, I'd say.
Which is it, the Reluctant Werewolf?
Huh?
The Reluctant Werewolf.
The Reluctant Werewolf.
I wonder if it still calms you down.
You're gonna play it after this to get me to shut up?
You're talking too much. I just put it on and you're sitting in front of the TV and you're like, I love.
That one is my favorite. Then also, this is a nicher one because it's like later in the lineup. But I like the Goblin King one too.
Goblin King.
Where they're on the train going to like the underworld or something. I showed my roommates that one, and they literally were like, Logan, what?
I like the alien one where the dog and that hippie girl are in it, and there's aliens. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The classics. Like,
but that's my favorite one because it's aliens, of course. And what's up with that girl and her dog? Aliens.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The hippie and the blonde dog. Love.
Oh yeah. All right. So let's jump into this case of the werewolves.
Ow.
Jean shorts and all. Ow.
Oh, I was like, what are you saying? You're wearing jean shorts?
I'm not. I should have. I'm so dumb.
You literally missed your opportunity. I'm so disappointed in you. Actually disappointed. Wait, why did I should have put that in the marketing photo. Maybe I might do one for fun.
A werewolf?
Put you with the werewolf. Yeah.
Oh,
I'd make you into a werewolf.
I shouldn't have not shaved for that shoot then.
I'll get a picture of you in jean shorts and we'll do it.
Okay, bet. That sounds perfect.
Continue.
All right, so in folklore, a werewolf, or occasionally known as a lycanthrope, which is what you heard me listen to before this, is a human with the ability to shapeshift into a wolf. Or especially in modern films, in a media, a more like hybrid wolf-like creature where it's more humanoid than it is wolf. But it is a human with the ability to shapeshift and either purposely or after being placed under a curse or affliction, often usually a bite or a scratch from another werewolf, with the transformations occurring on the night of a full moon. Early sources for belief in this ability of affliction, called lycanthropy, were from Patronus. Patronus?
Oh, Patronus. It's in Harry Potter too.
Oh.
Yeah, the Patronus.
Oh, okay. I did not put those two together.
No.
Patronus from 27 to 66, and Gervasi Tilbury from 1150 to 1228. So yeah, that's kind of, as we know, you see in movies all the time, they're like running down the street and then they see they got a werewolf slash and they're like,
suddenly turning in. Oh no. I've seen it all.
So, the werewolf is a widespread concept in European folklore, existing in many variants which are related by a common development of Christian interpretation of underlying European folklore developed during the medieval period. So, basically, Europeans love demons and Satan because they love God so much.
You heard it here first. All Christians love Satan.
Stop! You're talking blasphemy.
I'm a Christian, I can say it.
We got what? The Church of Scientology after us. We got
the
European Christians coming after us next. Like,
man, we can't help it. I just like to stir the pot a little. You know, I'm just saying it for the reaction. I did watch an entire Scientology documentary after that talk that day.
Really?
It's the Leah Remini, the Scientology show on Netflix. I watched like so many episodes, and they're like 40 minutes long.
Maybe they're werewolves. Maybe it's a cover-up.
I think so.
That would make sense, right?
It makes sense.
But yeah, so from the early modern period, werewolves were believed to also spread to the New World with colonialism, and belief in werewolves developed in the parallel to the belief in witches. So you weren't far off when we were talking about Salem. In the course of the late Middle Ages and the early modern period, like the witchcraft trials as a whole, the trial of supposed werewolves emerged in what is now known as Switzerland, especially the Vilas and Vaude, in the early 15th century, and spread throughout the Europe in the 16th century, peaking in the 17th century, and subsiding by the 18th century. So it looks like persecution of werewolves was also a thing, which I actually did not know.
It said it was in Switzerland?
It started in Switzerland, the persecution.
That is so surprising. I feel like Switzerland has always seemed like such a peaceful place to imagine they'd be persecuting people they believe to be these like crazy werewolf creatures. It's crazy to me.
Maybe that's why it's like so peaceful there now. It's kind of like, oh, we got all of our like werewolf trials out of the way and got all that anger out, so now we're chill people.
We're chill. We had a whole little debacle there, but now we're doing great. No werewolves killed since like what was the year? Like around the same what type of year?
It completely subsided by the 18th century, but it peaked in the 17th century. So in the 1700s, people were going nuts for werewolves.
Can you imagine? It gets to like, do you know how like at workplaces they have like 22 days since last injury? They have like since 18th century. No werewolves were harmed.
They have like a werewolf count on there too.
56 werewolves killed in the year.
But I think it being in Switzerland also makes sense because we talked about this before on the show with like big Eastern folklore stories, Eastern Europe stories. A lot of the time there was a lot of wolf sightings. So a lot of werewolf stuff came from the idea of like probably would have been just a regular wolf because they're very popular in Switzerland from what I believe.
Didn't we talk about wolves in the Spring-Heeled Jack episode? Is that the one I'm thinking
of? Yeah, and that also
werewolves?
was in Europe.
Yeah, see, so, it's like the same vibe, but werewolves.
Wolves just run around Europe all willy-nilly.
What if you just got a big dog? The other day I was at this park, and this dog was like a straight-up wolf off a leash in a park. I was
there you go.
I'm going to get mauled by this scraggly-looking thing, and I love dogs, but that thing was scary.
So it's like, no, yeah, exactly. No, you see just like a big dog and you're like, werewolf!
But that was a werewolf. I'm not even joking. It had like wiry fur and like a weird looking snout.
During the daytime?
During the daytime.
Wow. They're really hiding in plain sight.
Ask Benjamin. His whole family was there. We were like, I was scared that dog was going to hurt me.
So I googled it real quick. And it says Switzerland has 30 to 35 wolves with well-established pack in the Kalanda region that has been producing more pups each year.
30 types of wolf? Is that what you said? Or 30
wolves? To 35 wolves.
Altogether, okay.
So that's not as many as I was thinking it was, but it says...
But, like, how big is the area? It's a very concentrated area. I feel like that's a lot of wolves. Yeah. Like, if I was like, 30 wolves live in Pittsburgh, I'd be like, that's a lot of wolves for Pittsburgh. Like, imagine that.
We definitely have as many God, what are they?
What is it?
There's peacocks that run around Pittsburgh too.
What are you saying?
You never seen that? There was a peacock that was running around Pittsburgh one time.
Do you know your birds, Logan?
Yes, there was a peacock running around Pittsburgh.
I feel like I don't trust. No, look up a picture of a peacock and let me know if that's the right bird you're thinking of. No. I feel like you're wrong.
No, look, peacock that was running loose in Mount Lebanon returns. What? This was last year.
Show me a picture.
Let me look.
I don't believe that's a peacock. Whatever you're thinking.
No, it's a peacock.
Logan, I'm so concerned.
Look, no, this was in Pittsburgh. We had a peacock running around.
What the heck? Why?
I don't know.
Is that the only one, or has it got like a flock chilling?
It might be just one. Like maybe someone had a peacock.
One is enough to be running in Pittsburgh. At least it wasn't like a crew of snakes or something.
Oh my god, which we've also had. We've had giant snake
Oh, we had the
problems.
huge snake in the park.
In Frick Park. Oh my god.
Frick Park can't catch a break. Isn't that where the bridge fell too?
Yeah, it was, yeah. All our viewers, you guys should come to Pittsburgh. Or most of you live in Pittsburgh, so
yeah.
you know there's...
You know what's up.
Even though we don't have werewolves, we got... There was the bear, too, that was running around.
Oh, God.
My neighborhood. The bear.
There's a bear in your neighborhood?
Yeah, there was a grizzly bear running around whenever we were, like, first moving in.
Logan, why didn't I know about this? That's actually scary.
Oh, we were fine.
You could have got mauled. It could have snuck up on your little deck.
It, like, keys our house and breaks in.
They're going to say it keys Danielle's car.
Her car did get keyed, though, like, last week.
You're joking.
That's so funny.
If I was a bear, I'd key Danielle's car, too. If you're listening to Danielle, I'd do it again.
Oh, my God.
I was the bear who did it.
Oh my god. So the persecution of werewolves and the associated folklore is an integral part of the witch hunt phenomenon. However, it is a marginal one. Accusations of lycanthropy being involved in only a small fraction of witchcraft trials. So I guess that wasn't really brought up in the Salem witch trials one, but I guess during the witch trials, people were also accused of being a werewolf.
Oh, maybe I've heard of that a long time ago.
Like
vaguely.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense why witches and werewolves are always put, like, together. Because I think I've seen that in horror shows before where, like, a witch is also a werewolf sometimes.
Yeah. You know, I kind of like that some people were being, like, accused of being werewolves, too. Because then it's like it's not just a thing against women.
Yeah.
Because before it kind of seemed like they were just targeting women for, like, acting out.
I mean, we talked about it. It was a very misogynistic, gross thing that happened. But, like, yeah.
But it's nice to see some men being put in their place, you know?
Like to see some men put on trial for
You're a little too aggressive and hairy. I think you're a werewolf. Calm down. Punch a hole in the wall, Mr. Aggressive.
Oh, my God. So, so during, let's see. Yes, during the early period of accusations of lycanthropy were mixed with acute accusations of wolf riding or wolf charming. The case of Peter Stump of 1589 led to a significant peak in both interest and in persecution of werewolves, primarily in French-speaking and German-speaking Europe. The phenomenon persisted longest in Bavaria and in Austria, with persecutions of wolf charmers recorded until well after 1650. The final cases taking place in the early 18th century in Carnithia, Styria, yeah. And just a quick look at that. Wolf charmers was basically a malevolent spell that causes a wolf attack. So even though you're not a werewolf, you're putting a werewolf onto someone you don't like. Which I can see how, like, they think, like, oh, a witch must have seeked this werewolf out. So they're trying to get two people down.
Still blaming the women.
So I guess not all is equal still.
They said let's still blame the women. That's so weird that it was so long ago. 1589.
What?
It was in 1589. That is so long ago. Like, imagine.
And the final case was 1650. So 17th century.
That's crazy that it's been around that long. Like, I feel like I always pictured, like, 1700s, but it being around in 1500s, that's, like, weird.
Like, I know that it's, like, really far away, but we've talked about this before. It also doesn't feel that far away. It's, like, hundreds of years, but it's so kind of, like, what we're told in media about that time is very different from what, like, this
Like, imagine, like, the pre-Little House on the Prairie people. Blaming like things on werewolves.
They're like accusing werewolves. Like...
Yeah, imagine Little House on the Prairie for werewolves. Changes the whole game.
That's the reboot we need. That's what we should write after this. That is the reboot we need.
Although that wasn't 1500s, but like picture it back even earlier.
Isn't the intro to Little House on the Prairie like out like a wide shot of like the house and it's like fun little music is playing? What if, like, you just hear, like, a screech and it's, like, werewolf scratch. Yeah. And then it's nighttime and then they're all like, oh.
I'm about to edit my own version. We actually need that. We really do. It's their Halloween episode. That would be really cute.
You and I redo Little House on the Prairie.
We just edit like different angles and stuff.
Literally, like everyone's gonna be like, "I'm really trying to support this project, but this is just too much for me."
I know. I'm gonna research it tonight, just out of curiosity. Look up their scariest episode and just make that.
Just a recreation of the scariest Little House on the Prairie.
All of their
episode.
fears actually for the werewolf.
Yeah, so after the end of the witch trials, the werewolf became an interest of folklore studies and emerged in a lot of the gothic horror genre, which is werewolf fiction as well, as a pre-modern precedence in the medieval romances, and are developed in the 18th century out of the semi-fictional chapbook tradition. The trappings of horror literature in the 20th century became part of the horror and fantasy genre of modern popular culture. Which I have heard of that before, like, a lot of books, I guess, in the 18th century, too, were, very, like, girl meets werewolf, girl falls in love.
Yeah.
That's a lot of them.
Like, you would see, like, a cover of a romance novel, and it would be, like, the werewolf with his shirt, like, ripped open, and some, like, woman, like, bruising over him.
Yeah, no, and that was, like, probably a huge genre then, because, like, once, like, I think people were starting to speculate that werewolves weren't a thing.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, let's put them into our novels, like.
Yeah.
I wonder if, like, when that first started, if the people had, like, a lapse of, like, questioning, like, oh, this is, like, kind of weird, right? Or if they were just, like, into it immediately, you know what I mean?
I'm like, I'm kind of concerned if people are into it. I'm like, isn't that, like, bestiality?
Like, you go to the dollar store and see, like, a book cover of, like, an alien making out with a woman, and he's got, like, ripped abs and stuff. Like, that's weird. But, like, did they see books like this, and they were like, yeah, okay.
But I'm like, I was saying, like, isn't that, like, just bestiality? That's kind of wrong. That's a whole, like, wolf.
Well, he can turn back into a human, so it's like, oh, which side do I love?
I hope the man part. I hope when he's not
like, I hope for your sake it's the man
I hope he's not a dog. A whole dog wolf? I don't want that for you. You shouldn't want that for you. And I'm not trying to shame nobody, but reconsider. Reconsider.
That's the whole basis of Teen Wolf. Like, you're basically talking about Teen Wolf right now.
Now I'm questioning all the people on that show. Everyone's like, oh, Teen Wolf.
Tyler Posey's cute though, so like.
Were you attracted to him as the wolf?
I'm not saying that's
Logan,
what I'm saying.
LaMaster.
No, but sometimes they would just give him the little ears and the eyes, and you're kind of like.
You better stop it right here. You better backtrack.
Like, look at him. Like, look at this.
Absolutely not.
He's so cute, Tyler Posey.
It's all
please.
Sweaty.
Okay, I'm sweaty right now.
Yeah.
We turned the AC off, so.
That's on you, buddy. I have a blanket and a heating pad. I'm doing great.
You're literally like, it's like one of the hottest days of the year, and you're like, oh, it's
like
fine.
A burr. Big burr.
Alright, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about the names of like werewolves, so like what they've been called before and like how they got their name. So the word werewolf comes from the Old English word werewolf, like Werwulf. Yep.
Oh yeah.
I'm a spelling bee champ.
It's very
a compound of wer man and wolf, meaning wolf. The only old High German testimony is in the form of a given name, werewolf. Although an early Middle High German werewolf is found in Burchard of Worms and Berthold of Regensburg, which are just books. The word or concept does not occur in medieval Germany poetry or in fiction, but it started gaining popularity from the 15th century. Middle Latin also as well used to call them Old Frankish words like werewolf. And Old Norse culture as well had the high importance of werewolves in their Norse mythology, which I didn't know.
I didn't know it was in mythology at all. Norse mythology?
Yeah, it's in Norse mythology apparently. So like the Scandinavian, like, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
like, Scandinavia
now that I'm thinking about it.
Because I think like I've seen pop culture media of like Scandinavia,
like
and, like werewolves.
I feel like that's where it was in the Victoria Justice movie. Was it not in that mansion?
Scandinavia?
I feel like it in that mansion.
Do you want me to look?
Yeah,
the
look
boy
it up.
Who cried wolf.
Werewolf. Yeah, I feel like it was one of those places in the mansion.
That'd be so funny.
The people couldn't figure out what accent they had.
Stop! This is so funny. How it's like a little.
Little shh.
Wait, is it a reboot? Because
no, it is. I think it is.
Because there's one from 1973 as well.
It is a reboot.
Okay,
Yeah, look up what the location is. But I feel like I associate more of Scandinavia than I would Germany, now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, okay. So it was in Romania.
Romania. Okay, same
so
vibe.
Maybe close? I don't know anything about
geography. Don't even. I literally had this conversation with Benjamin the other night. I don't know where anything is, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I simply am sorry.
Our show is discovery of different like mythologies and cultures, and you and I can't figure out where
yeah,
Russia is.
You say Russia, I say where.
I'm like, where is that?
Show me the map.
No, Australia? Good
Show
luck.
me the map.
New Zealand? Close to Australia, maybe?
Green. It's green. Right?
Yeah. Iceland, Greenland? Where is that?
Isn't Iceland green?
Flipped.
But
yeah,
Greenland
Iceland's the green
isn't.
One. Yeah, they tricked
Which is
people.
stupid. Reconsider your names.
Well, they did that because of the, like, I don't know which war it is, so don't call me out on the podcast. But they changed it because of like the war. They were like, "We're gonna go to Greenland," and then they like changed it to Iceland.
To like trick them.
To trick them.
Ah, those
So when they got there, they were like, "Why is everything so icy?"
Stop it! Actually, it's kind of iconic of them.
It is kind of iconic.
I'll give it to them. They can keep it for now. Just for this once.
Exactly. All right, so we're gonna get into the history now of all the different mythologies that come with it. So we're starting with Indo-European comparative mythology. So the werewolf folklore found in Europe harks back to a common development during the Middle Ages, arising in the context of Christianity and the associated interpretation of pre-Christian mythology in Christian terms. Their underlying common origin can be traced back to Proto-Indo-European mythology, where lycanthropy is reconstructed as an aspect of the initiation of the warrior class. Oh, I've seen that before too, actually. And just to define it, Proto-Indo-European mythology is the body of myths and deities associated with the Proto-Indo-Europeans and the hypothetical speakers of the reconstructed Proto-Indo-European language, although mythological motifs are not directly attested. So, it's kind of like the old language before modern Christianity became a thing. But I feel like I've seen that before, like wolves being used as a way to be a warrior. So just showing you this picture for a second, it's like a man covered in like a wolf skin.
Yeah.
Like it's the first process before becoming a werewolf in a way. Like kind of like you're being initiated into
That's a creepy way to think about it. I always thought it was to like scare people off, which
I think it's probably both. Like they probably were trying to find like double meanings in a lot of what they did.
The fact that would initiate you into the process of becoming a werewolf? Absolutely not.
Oh my god, like I can't imagine like
Imagine you didn't know.
That's like honestly like the original furry, if you really think about
it.
Like wearing like little wolf skins and being like, "Ow, that's being a furry."
Ow, I guess.
Ow,
no.
I guess.
Oh, absolutely not. This is too much.
This is a wild first episode. I'm living for it.
They said happy summer.
I said happy summer. Here's a chaotic werewolf episode.
Here's chaos. Fall in love with the werewolf or die.
What if I turn into a werewolf by the end of this episode? I start going like, and then I'm like wearing it. What if you turn into a blanket for having a blanket on?
I probably will at some point.
Halfway through me talking about this next segment, I'm gonna be like, Tiffany, you're
my
just gonna
final
be a blanket.
Form, I'm a quilt.
We just turned into the things we're wearing. I put on a coat, and I'm like, I'm a coat.
I'm a coat. I'm a quilt.
I identify as a blanket.
I actually identify as a quilt. Thank you very much. Stitch by stitch, steam.
And then I have to like, and then I'm like, oh, there's dust all over this, and I hit it against the wall.
No. You just hear yelling from the quilt. You're like, I don't know what's happening.
You're like, I'm a rug, and I'm like, all right, gotta put you on the clothesline.
Time to vacuum.
Start beating you with it.
Time to put it in the washer. Can you imagine being put through the washer? Have you ever really thought about that? Guys, also, if I'm a little wacky this episode, I just had caffeine for the first time in 2 days.
For the first time.
In 2 days. That's not that long, but for me, that's something special.
I love it.
I feel a little weird.
So such transformations of men into wolves came in pagan cults were associated with the devil from the early medieval perspective.
Wait, I think I knew that. They were associated with cults.
Yeah, because it's like packs of werewolves, packs of witches. They were just ready to like get everyone like demon, devil, like.
Oh my god, Logan, I forgot to tell you something.
Is it about witches?
It's about cults.
Oh, okay.
I have a fear that I might have not joined a cult, but applied for something that's very cult-like, and I'm afraid.
I applied for a pyramid scheme, which is kind of the
Which
same
I
thing.
think it's something like that. I'm gonna have to show you the website. Because it
Okay.
was on Indeed, and it seems legit, but not legit at all. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's like a very general position, and they're offering like 30 to 60 an hour, which is weird already. And
Mm-hmm.
they said they got like 1,000 applications. They answered me.
That sounds dangerous. I would not.
But
Mm-mm.
no, but their whole website is like scary. Like
Absolutely
it looks
not.
like a cult. Like it has that like higher being type of like weird energy.
I bet you it's a pyramid scheme.
I bet it's a
I bet
cult.
you,
And I'm
100%.
pretty sure I applied to a cult. So I'll show you after. I'll get your details, but
Okay.
continue with your pagan cult stuff.
Um, so the concept of werewolf in Western and Northern Europe is strongly influenced by the role of the wolf in German paganism, which I did not know that was a thing. Okay. Well, I guess I did, because, yeah, German paganism. Like, that's a thing, because Hansel and Gretel's German, right? And that's a
Oh
witch.
yeah,
So that's like,
you're right.
yeah,
I don't
that's
know
how
a lot
I
of stuff.
figure out things.
You said the math ain't mathin'.
But there are related traditions in other parts of Europe as well, which were not necessarily influenced by Germanic tradition, especially in Slavic Europe and in the Balkans, and possibly in areas bordering the Indo-European sphere, which is the Caucasus. I think that's how you say that. Or where Indo-European cultures have been replaced by military conquest in the medieval era. Okay. So in his Man into Wolf 1948, Robert Eisler tried to cast the Indo-European tribal names meaning wolf or wolf men in terms of the European transition from fruit gathering to predator hunting.
Oh no.
Okay, so
Couldn't just stay with the fruits.
so that's kind of interesting too, like calling some like just a regular person a wolf because they used to be a fruit gatherer and now they're a hunter.
Yeah.
That's kind of so interesting to think
It makes
about.
sense because now their personality is more of a predator, so it's like wolf-like.
It's kind of like what's going on here. This seems sketch.
I just want to collect the fruits. That's all. Why can't I keep collecting the fruits?
Can you imagine like you're out like picking berries the one day and they're like, Tiffany, you're gonna be a werewolf now. Like
We're
that's
gonna
like
initiate ya.
puberty.
I'm like, please don't. And they're
I'm
like,
like,
go eat that cat.
a cat.
I don't know. It's the first animal. I'd never eat a cat.
The first animal you thought of.
Because I like cats.
You like cats, so you'll eat it.
No. What other creatures?
I like you. Am I gonna eat you?
I hope not.
Or yeah.
Unless you're a werewolf. We need like a lightning sound effect. Or thunder, I mean. You can't hear lightning.
I'll start the episode with that. Just like, kapow.
Like the really cheesy sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like.
You'll put it in? You have to find it now. I want that Kerchow sound.
I'm looking. I don't want this to be too loud. Hold on.
Like how the beginning of Scooby-Doo is.
Yeah, kind of like the Rockton Werewolf. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear this?
I can't tell.
Can you hear it?
I hear it a little bit.
Oh shit.
I love it. Now make your
I have
werewolf
it over
sound.
the mic.
I'm gonna imagine.
It's kind of faint.
Oh, that's good. Okay, werewolf sound. Go. I'm closing my eyes.
Oh.
It's so visual.
I didn't want to be loud. I was being a polite werewolf.
Oh, let me do it. Put it back on.
I just.
Logan, that's so rude. I'll do it my own.
Lightning.
You're welcome.
That one wasn't as like. Yours was on par with mine.
Yours was.
I was being polite. I don't want to wake the neighbors.
They're not sleeping. It's 8:35 in the evening.
No, but I mean, like, as the theoretical werewolf, if I'm running around and I'm like,
you're right. You don't want them to be suspicious. There's a werewolf in that place. I get it.
Then I'll die.
Yeah, they'll burn you with a stake or whatever they do to werewolves. Yeah. Stab you in the heart. Is that what it is?
Because either way, I'm screwed. If they like me, they'll eat me, and if
they literally can't, I won't let them. I'll become a witch. Save
That's
you.
so nice of you.
That's friendship right there.
Oh, you and I are like a werewolf and a witch, kinda.
Aww. We should go trick-or-treating dressed as a werewolf and a witch.
We should. I should be a werewolf next year. I know my costume.
You'd be a good werewolf.
I have the jean shorts, so
do it. Why not?
I get little hairs put on me.
That'll be
kind of cute. Okay, I'm getting so off.
I can't help it. It's a fun episode.
So we're gonna talk about now the classical the classical mythology of werewolves, basically. I'm not going to try to pronounce that word. So, a few references to men changing into wolves are found in ancient Greek literature as well and in mythology. Herodotus, in the book Histories, wrote that the Nuer, a tribe he places in the northeast of Scythia, were all transformed into wolves once every year for several days and then changed back into their human shape. This tale was also mentioned by Pomponius Mela. So yeah, they were a part of Greek mythology as well, which I think is very interesting because that's so like far back in a way.
I feel like werewolves have to be real. Like it's just weird that all these different people,
like they're an ancient culture, like
yeah, like all different parts of the world are recognizing werewolves as something.
Yeah, like the same time they were believing in like Zeus and Aphrodite and like Poseidon, they were also believing werewolves were around.
Like it has to be true, right?
Yeah, there might be one outside the window, like listening to us right now, kind of like this is a great episode. So in the 2nd century BC, the Greek geographer Pausanias related to the story of King Lycaon of Arcadia, who was transformed into a wolf because he had sacrificed a child on the altar of Zeus. In the version of the legend told by Ovid in his book Metamorphosis, when Zeus visits Lycaon disguised as a common man, Lycaon wants to test if he really is a god. To that end, he kills Molossian hostage and serves his entrails to Zeus. Disgusted, the god turns Lycaon into a wolf. However, in other accounts of the legend, like that of this book, Zeus blasts him and his son with thunderbolts as punishment, casting them as werewolves.
Oh my gosh. They deserved it. I mean, they deserve more than that, but...
That's like kind of interesting though, because like his name was Lycius, and the word for werewolf is also known as lycanthrope. So like, I wonder if this was like one of the origins of the word as well.
That's crazy.
Right?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
I'm just like, that's so interesting that like it's possible lycanthrope came from like ancient Greek culture.
Yeah. That's crazy. He said, "You're a werewolf, you disgusting human." Now you're a werewolf.
I feel like Zeus is punishing everybody.
Yeah.
Every time we talk about a Greek mythology, it's like, dang, Zeus is just at it again.
I mean, this guy did deserve it though.
I mean, yeah. I'm not trying to like be like, he shouldn't have been turned into a werewolf. That's so unfair.
Sentenced to death by werewolf. By existing as a werewolf. Good luck. Everyone's gonna chase you.
Exactly.
What if it's been the same werewolf this entire time, jumping around the world?
Like there's just one singular werewolf.
Yeah, it's always
been
that guy. You just can't die.
He goes to the bar for a beer. He's like, I was punished by Zeus one time. He's like, all right, buddy.
He's like, okay, get a grip. Grow up.
Can you imagine?
He goes everywhere. It's just, he's doomed to people trying to kill him for the rest of his life, but he can't die. It'd be the worst fate.
So yeah, so it looks like based off this mythology as well, people being turned into werewolves wasn't just a one-off event, but that men have been transformed into wolves during sacrifices to Zeus since the time of Lycaon. So if they abstain of tasting human flesh while being wolves, they would be restored to human for 9 years later. But if they do, they will remain wolves forever. So Zeus has been punishing people who like sacrifice humans to him for so long that it creates other werewolves. That's so interesting because that's kind of like the Wendigo thing also. Because like the whole like you become a Wendigo by eating human flesh and they become werewolves by... That's so interesting.
Wait, was it saying that if they eat human flesh as a werewolf, they have 9 years without being a werewolf? What was the thing?
So basically, after Zeus punishes them and they become a werewolf, they have to abstain from eating human flesh for 9 years, and once they do that, they will be turned back into a human. But if they break it, they will be werewolves for the rest of their lives.
Oh,
that's so interesting.
They gotta eat something else.
But that's kind of like it's just so interesting. It goes back to the Wendigo thing because I feel like the more cases we've been doing, the more we're like, oh, this kind of matches up with this thing and that thing.
Like everything's very connected. It's weird, but I love it.
I just love that like ancient lore and like just like mythology like this just seems to all kind of play into each other at some point.
Yeah, I just like hearing all the different origin stories for things. Like I liked hearing about the Lycan thing.
Yeah,
it's just like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, this is like a side thing, but I think that's one of my favorite things about the podcast lately too, is like kind of like we've been seeing a lot more intersection of things we've talked about. So
Yeah.
it's super
Get to
fun.
hear about werewolves after all this time.
Yeah, no, quite literally. So we're going to jump forward to the Middle Ages.
Middle Ages.
The Middle
Yeehaw.
Ages. So we're out of ancient culture and we're in the Middle Ages, baby.
We're on the yeehaw days.
The yeehaw days?
I guess so. Yeehaw.
Medieval cowboy.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, I say.
Yeehaw, doth
Why are
I
they
say?
British?
Yeehaw, doth I say?
Yeehaw, I say.
I don't even know how to be British and yeehaw.
Huh?
How do you be British and say yeehaw?
Hello, babes.
Hello.
Yeehaw.
Hello, yeehaw, my bub.
Yeehaw, babes.
Yeehaw, babes.
Yeehaw, baby.
I love this for us. Yeehaw.
So in the Middle Ages, there is evidence of widespread belief in werewolves in Europe. This evidence spans much of the continent as well as the British Isles. Oh, there you go.
Ah, British Isles,
the
love.
British Isles, babes.
I love it. Yeehaw.
Werewolves were mentioned apparently in medieval law codes, such as that of King. Of King.
Just say the first letter of his name.
C-N-U-T.
Oh no!
Of
Maybe
King,
don't.
King C-U-N-T.
What a guy.
Who's informs that the codes aim to ensure that the madly audacious werewolves do not widely devastate nor bite too many of the spiritual flock.
What?
So basically, like, there's like a code in here that this king made, being like, "Hey, can you not eat our sheep, maybe?"
Maybe
like,
don't.
Why would the werewolves listen to the king?
What is he gonna do? Put him in jail?
Like, proclamation from the king, guys.
Proclamation from the king.
Looks like we have to eat less sheep now.
Darn flabby, they're gonna put us in jail. Imagine a bunch of werewolves behind bars.
The Middle Ages are just wild.
They're wild.
Because there's also a person apparently who reports that he can use magic to turn himself into a werewolf. Like, he had a diary written about like he called himself a proclaimed wizard and said he could turn himself into a werewolf. But also, who am I to judge? If it's in his diary, that's his truth, you know?
If it's in his diary, it must be true.
Exactly.
They got that on eBay or something? I want to buy it. His diary?
Exactly. I should start doing that. Like, writing in a diary, like, I was the most liked person ever. I did this and that. And then, like, when they find it 200 years from now, I'm like, this person sounds sick.
I think, since I have my whole journaling thing, what if I got a journal and just put a bunch of false stuff in it? Like, today I traveled to Italy and turned into, like, a bird.
Yeah.
Just to mess with scientists later?
Yeah, they're just like, she turned into a bird?
I saw the wings coming out of my back. I didn't tell my mom. They're like,
my
what?
mom can never know.
She can never know.
Oh my goodness.
I need it. I want it. I have to.
Alright, where was I gonna go with this? Alright, so, apparently in a lot of literature as well at this time, there were beliefs that you could transform into a lot of things other than just werewolves. He also says that he believes that there were women who could turn themselves into cats and into snakes.
Ooh,
and was
I
a
like
widespread belief across Europe.
I've never heard snakes. Women turning into cats, I've heard, but snakes? That's cool.
Yeah. But that's so interesting because that again circles back to witches. Like, again, like the idea, because like you see a lot of like stuff where it's like witches will turn into cats.
Yeah. Well, now that I'm thinking about snakes, I guess that makes sense, because have you ever seen like the videos of like the snake charming type things? Like, I can imagine like a temptress as a snake, like, whoa, like singing.
Turning into a snake or something.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's so interesting to me. So let's see here. So the phrase that he used for transformations like this is the phrase "que ida dinos cantor," which, when discussing these metamorphoses, translates to the word "it is known," which is kind of cool.
Ooh, wait, so this is what he said, like, it was called, or this is what he said to become?
This is like the phrase he called people who would transform.
Okay, at first I thought it was like the ritual thing to turn. I was like, Logan turned into like a cat now.
Maybe it is though too. Like, who am I to say that like that's not like a part of it either? Like,
they say it in the mirror 3 times.
Because if he's saying that's like what the process is called, like there has to be a reason. Like, because that's
Yeah.
very witchy, like quieta disconcontor.
It sounds like a
Like,
little thing.
and
Little
just it
spell.
being called like it is known is so like
It's like,
creepy.
ooh, it's
Like,
known. All is known. It is known.
So Jarofsky, the one we're talking about right now, was writing in Germany, also tells the reader that the transformation of men into wolves cannot be easily dismissed, for in England we have often seen men change into wolves. Further evidence of widespread belief in werewolves and other human animal transformations can be seen in the theological attacks made against such beliefs. Conrad of Herisau, writing in the 11th century, forbids the reading of stories in which a person's reason is obscured following such a transformation. Conrad specifically refers to the tales of Ovid in his tract, which is pseudo Augustine, writing in the 12th century, follows Augustine of Hippo's argument that no physical transformation can be made by any but God, stating that the body cannot be changed into the material limbs of any animal. So, kind of that whole section is like a few people just debating on if it's even possible. Like, no, like God is the only person who can transform himself to our eyes.
Yeah.
Then other people are saying,
but no.
We can't obscure from the idea that these transformations are happening.
Yeah.
And will be happening.
Just weird. So many people have seen it or witnessed it in time throughout like different places. So like they're onto something.
No, literally, which is just so interesting to like talk about. Going to, I think, let's see here. All right, the last history thing I'll talk about here is about early modern history, where there were numerous reports of werewolves attacks and consequent court trials, as we mentioned before, in the 16th century France. In some of the cases, there was apparently clear evidence against the accused of murder and cannibalism, but with no association with wolves. In other cases, people have been terrified by such creatures, such as that of Giles Garnier in Dole in 1573, who was convicted and found guilty of being a werewolf. And it looks like here it says Gilles was a French serial killer and cannibal and hermit that was convicted of being a werewolf at this time.
Oh, so, creepy.
That's kind of an interesting thing to think about too, because like obviously they had enough evidence to prove that he was a cannibal and stuff, but it's interesting to think like even though these people didn't see him turn into a werewolf, like even though they didn't see him turn into a werewolf, they had theories that he was because he was doing things like that.
Yeah, it's also interesting to think that like in their brains maybe they called it a werewolf, like called him a werewolf because it was too hard for their minds to concept that like a human would have the desire to eat another human being. Yeah. So they were like, he has to be like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Which is so interesting because that again goes back to the Zeus thing as well, where he was kind of like, if you abstain from eating humans for 9 years, I'll turn you back or whatnot. Like it kind of plays into those ideas of like, oh, they eat human flesh, only human flesh kind of thing.
Like what if there's a thing that like cannibals just turn into werewolves? All cannibals turn into werewolves. The Donner Party.
Oh my god.
They all become werewolves.
I mean, I wonder if like that was a thing like during that time, if there are people who like knew about this literature of werewolves and kind of referred to them as that before. Like those people are just wolves. And even like a throwaway thing like that, like is kind of so interesting to think about.
That's
I don't know.
Wild.
I just think it's so interesting that there's like legal evidence that there was a conviction of a werewolf.
Oh yeah, quote werewolf. That's weird.
Like there's legal documentation out there that says someone was prosecuted for being a werewolf.
Like that's just as crazy as like the government like saying, "Yep, there's aliens."
Yeah.
It's like what?
Yeah, it's
there's
just...
werewolves.
Yeah.
That spooky.
Right? Oh my goodness. All right, so let's see here. We're going to jump to the rest of just the idea of being a werewolf, characteristics that come with it.
Yeah.
And we'll jump into a little bit of becoming a werewolf. So the characteristics. The beliefs classed together under common lycanthropy are far from uniform, and the term is somewhat applied. So the transformation may be temporary or sometimes permanent. There were animals that may be the man himself in metamorphosis. but maybe his double whose activity leaves the real man to all appearances and unchanged. It may be his soul that's doing it, which goes forth seeking whomever it may devour, leaving its body in a state of trance, or maybe no more than the messenger of a human being, or a real animal or familiar spirit. So this is like the theory and idea that when you become a werewolf, you could be just like laying in bed, but your soul leaves your body. And kind of like a Patronus thing, right? Yeah.
That's similar. And then like the idea of, we always talk about it, that the what is it called when you leave your body?
Yeah, when you leave your body.
Oh, what is it called? Astral projection.
Yeah.
But you're a werewolf.
But it's just, and I've seen that before in culture where like in even popular media, if someone will like be running around as a werewolf all night, get back to bed, all their clothes are gone, they're bloody, they have scratches,
and they don't know what happened.
They don't know what happened to them. Which is like a huge thing. So that like makes sense that that's like a big thing where people don't think you either become a werewolf. Sometimes they think your spirit is a werewolf, but you leave your body to feed like this.
What if everyone just gets possessed by that, like, what's the guy's name? The the first guy?
Yeah.
What if they all get possessed by him?
Oh my god.
His wolf spirit. Everyone after him becomes a wolf spirit by his spirit.
I mean, that's very possible. Like that's creepy. Yeah, so that's kind of like one of the main like ideas, the characteristics of a werewolf. And then of course, the tall tale physical traits of one outside of their human form include the meeting of both their eyebrows at the bridge of the nose, curved fingernails, low set ears, and a swinging stride. I don't know what a swinging stride means.
It's like walking.
Oh, like
with your arms
like
swinging.
He's so top heavy, he has to be like,
yeah.
Oh, that's probably why they're hunched over, because they got such big arms.
They got those big long arms.
Hi, Tyler.
Just sounded like a little. Oh, what? You gotta quit.
So yeah, apparently also as well with the characteristics, here, a lot of people during the trials, to figure out if you were a werewolf or not, would try to look and see if you had any like random scratches on your body or something. Like they would like look for things like that, or would also you could also establish what a werewolf was by the bristles on their tongue.
Oh.
So if they had like really, because little like bristles that are on there, if they're like huge.
Your taste buds?
Yeah, like the bristles, like like your
buds.
taste buds. If they're like huge or like look like your tongue looks kind of off,
sharp.
Apparently, in a lot of European culture, they use that to be like,
"Oh,
you're a werewolf."
Okay.
Well, you're just born like that, and they're like, werewolf.
And you're like, but this is genetic. Please.
Yeah, so becoming a werewolf. So, various methods for becoming a werewolf have been reported, but one of the simplest being the removal of clothing and putting on a belt made of wolf skin, as we talked about before. Like, you put that on and you are now associated as a werewolf. In other cases, the body is rubbed with a magic salve, which is like kind of like a hallucinogenic ointment, I guess, that was really popular in European witchcraft.
Okay. Salve.
That's just like so interesting because it sounds like they're talking about like an acid or LSD trip.
Yeah.
And they're like they got so high and they're like, guys, I'm a werewolf, and they're just like a normal person.
It kind of sounds like that. It kind of sounds like then they like started to get these cannibalistic things going on.
Yeah.
And they think they're a werewolf.
Yeah, this is actually the one I find the most interesting of how to turn into a werewolf, and I was so intrigued by this, but apparently, like, if you drink the rainwater out of the footprint of a werewolf, you become a werewolf. So, like, you're walking down the trail, you're thirsty, like, long day, and you see a footprint and there's water in it. You're like, oh, scoop, aroo!
Like, scoop aroo, I guess.
You just scoop and aroo.
You grab your little travel straw, you sip that up.
Exactly. So
unsanitary.
That's just so interesting to me. Like, as well, it's believed in Swedish culture that werewolves were initiated by draining a cup of specially prepared beer and repeating a set of formulas. In one book that's stated in Swedish culture, the form of an incantation still familiar in Russia, in Italy, France, and Germany, it was said that a man or woman could turn into a werewolf if he or she on a certain Wednesday or Friday slept outside on a summer night with the full moon shining directly on his or her face.
Today's Friday.
Today's Friday,
Is
baby.
there a full moon?
Is there a full moon tonight?
Look it up. Pull that up.
Is there a full moon tonight? The next full moon will be... Oh, it was Tuesday, June 14th.
Oh, we missed it. That wouldn't have been the right day of the week anyway, so... That's embarrassing.
What if people, like, Google this to try to become a werewolf? When is the next full moon on a Friday? Oh my god, they have a full moon calendar on space.com. Is there one in the summer? We're about to find out. Oh, this is so
what was the other day? A Sunday?
The next full moon is July 13th.
Should I request off work? We can sleep on your balcony.
Oh.
Do you want to try it?
Do you want to become werewolves?
Yeah, I can request off.
In July 13th.
And what day of the week is that? Friday or a Sunday?
Well, if it's a Sunday, we can't do it. It's got to be...
it has to be Friday.
It doesn't say what day it is.
Well, no, look on your calendar. I'll look on the calendar.
Look on your calendar. What's July 13th?
On Benjamin's thing.
Everyone on the podcast is hearing us,
click.
immediately come together to become...
Okay, you said July 13th?
Yes. Please be a Wednesday or a Friday. Please.
July 13th. Oh, it's Monday.
Oh my god.
Wait, that's June.
Mondays.
It's June. Oh my god. There's still hope for us yet.
Okay.
Why isn't it showing me July? Month. Okay. Sorry. It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday, so we will turn into wolves.
Wait, I thought it was
Wednesday or Friday.
Oh, I thought it was Sunday.
So we're meeting up on July 13th and gonna sleep under the buck moon. That's what they say.
Do you work on Thursdays?
Huh?
Do you work on Thursdays?
I do, but I'll just call in sick.
Okay, let's do it.
Can you imagine I call in sick to try to be a werewolf? I'm like, sorry,
I'm really
guys.
sick. I'm having like a werewolf today. No, but seriously, will you do that?
Like, maybe. We can talk about it.
Okay. Anywho.
Right, so the last thing we'll talk about here is the idea of how to remedy when you become a werewolf.
Okay.
So various methods have existed for removing the werewolf form in antiquity. The ancient Greeks and Romans believed in the power of exhaustion in curing people of lycanthropy. The victim would be subjected to long periods of physical activity in the hopes of being purged of the malady. Malady? Yeah, that's what it says. It's malady, but I've never heard that word before. This practice stemmed from the fact that many alleged werewolves would be left feeling weak and debilitated after committing such physical activity. Mm-hmm. That's so interesting. But like I've seen in Teen Wolf, like if their heartbeat gets really quick, that's when they become a werewolf because they're running on adrenaline.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would kind of like be almost counterproductive because they would be like. Because if they become a werewolf,
they just are a werewolf. I guess if you worked out for an entire day, you couldn't be a werewolf all day, right? You'd have to eventually go back and exhaust your human form, right? Mm-hmm. In theory.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also in medieval Europe, traditionally there are 3 methods one can use to cure a victim of lycanthropy. Medicinally, usually via the use of wolfsbane, which I've heard of before, or by surgically removing it. I don't know how. Or by an exorcism.
Oh,
everyone's
cute.
Favorite.
I love a little exorcism.
I love an exorcism.
Tee-hee, I guess.
However, many of the cures advocated by medieval medical practitioners proved fatal to the patients. A Sicilian belief of Arabic origin holds that a werewolf can be cured of its ailment by striking it on the forehead or scalp with a knife. Oh my god.
Yeah, that person's not going to live after that, I don't think.
Yeah, it sounds like most of these methods are like, oh yeah, we'll definitely cure you being a werewolf, and it's
you'll just
like,
die. That's your cure is death.
Exactly. Like that's just.
Oh my gosh.
But I feel like again, like you see that a lot in like a lot of middle age type of stuff. It's like very not progressive medicine.
I don't think it's stabbed with a stake, or is that just vampires and that kind of stuff?
That's vampires, but
or
a big werewolf thing is shooting them in the heart with a silver bullet.
Silver, that's what it is.
Silver bullets.
Okay,
baby.
I was like, what am I thinking of? Yeah, that was it.
Which I don't know if it talks about that. I looked through this and I didn't see anything about silver bullets. So let me look real quick. Where did killing werewolves with silver bullets come from?
Silver bullets.
we'll see. Because when I did the research on this, I couldn't find anything on that. Alright,
Hmm.
so the use of silver bullets to kill werewolves had become popular only since it was invented by Kurt Siodmak, the writer of the 1941 film The Wolf Man. Oh, so
Ooh.
it's a, like, fairly new idea, like
Yeah,
killing
in
a
media.
werewolf with a silver bullet. So
Okay.
that came directly from pop culture.
Weird.
That wasn't, like, in the mythology or the
So
folklore.
maybe it doesn't work.
What?
It probably doesn't work then, since it was produced by media.
It was produced by like a film writer,
Unless
so
that
it's
writer
like,
knows something we don't.
hmm.
They got the
He is a
secrets.
werewolf. But then
He
why would he tell people that? Yeah.
just to spice it up, stir the pot a little, you know.
He's like, no one will know.
They won't understand.
But yeah, so apparently, since we talked a lot about like it being like Christianity was involved with a lot of this,
Mhm.
and just like that, like, I almost said pandemic, that hysteria that came with werewolves. A lot
Yeah.
of Christian cultures, like a lot of Christian beliefs, believed that the way to kill a werewolf was to call them by their Christian given name three
Okay.
times, and it would like melt them away of
Like
their
ground them
fear.
back to their
Yeah,
original
like kind of how you
state.
see in some things, like if you say a demon's name three times,
Banish
they
it.
go away, they
Yeah.
vanish. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, so let's see here. So yeah, so like basically by the end of this, werewolves, after all of this folklore, this is so interesting because this goes back to something we've talked about before. But yeah, so most modern fiction, as we talked about, uses silver weapons to highly hurt werewolves. This feature appears in German folklore um, as well, apparently. But the claim that the beast of Gévaudan in the
Gévaudan.
18th century wolf or wolf-like creature was shot by a silver bullet appears to have been introduced by novelists retelling the story up to 1935 in earlier
So still
versions.
new.
So like they don't know for sure if like that's how they killed the beast of Gévaudan. Which, if
Yeah.
you haven't watched that episode, that's one of mine, I
It is
believe,
one of
that we
yours.
covered in like
Yeah.
back in season 4, I think.
Go check it
Yeah.
out.
So yeah, so basically werewolves have just become such a big part of pop culture. There's been just so many different ways of adapting them. They've been used in all forms of media. So and of course the most popular werewolf um series is An American Werewolf in London,
Oh yeah, I've
which
heard of
is
it.
like I think known as like the werewolf movie
I'm
out
gonna have to
there.
watch that.
I've never seen it either, but I just know that like
It's
it's
well
referred to
known.
a lot as like the werewolf movie. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
ah woo,
Ow.
werewolves London. But
Uh,
yeah, so that is the case of the werewolf.
ow.
What do you think?
I really liked it. I feel like I believe in werewolves. I think I
Mm-hmm.
do. I don't know to what extent,
Yeah.
but I like to believe in them. You know, when they're not killing people and stuff. But if they're
like
running around making
they're a
noises.
fun idea, but I also at the same time like maybe you shouldn't be killing random people.
Maybe I don't want them to murder people, but I like the idea of werewolves just chilling, running through the woods, getting all scraggly, and
Yeah,
then coming back to their
maybe they
home.
can just like hang out.
Yeah, just run through the woods at night, get that steam off, you know, and then
Yeah,
come back home. Get
just like
snugly in bed.
take that aggression out on a tree and come back and take a
Yeah, go scratch up that tree, little guy.
nap.
Come back home.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
What was your favorite of like the werewolf adaptations? Because we talked about a lot of different like cultures and ideas of werewolves.
I really did like the Greek one. I feel like that made the most sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I was like, well, that guy did something really bad, so he got like
Yeah.
in trouble and turned into a werewolf by
Yeah.
what's his face. I feel like I'm just like, yeah, he should have been turned into that. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like that idea.
I actually agree. I think you and I really like mythology a lot in ancient cultures.
Yeah.
So like I really like the Greek one too.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love the idea that there's like out of all the folklores, I feel like there's not like a set of rules of how a werewolf acts or what happens in a lot of them. It just
Yeah.
feels like too open, like um like too much of an open idea of like, oh, you can interpret it however you want.
Yeah.
But with the Greek thing, it's like you have 9 years. Once you get to that point, if you can make it through, you turn back into a human.
Like the rules of that make sense to me. And then I
Yeah.
also
Because it's like a punishment.
yeah, it's a punishment. And then I was also intrigued by the idea of the cannibal relation to
Yeah, of like the first guilty
Yeah,
werewolf.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so interesting. I know, because I never connected that, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we're
Because
like
it would
probably
be,
early ideas
technically.
of cannibalism were probably tied to that. And probably
Yeah.
even for vampires too.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't talk about it a lot on your episode of
Yeah.
vampires, but like, you know, there was a lot of people who were like blood sucking then, and I wonder if they were accused of cannibalism as well.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I just never made that connection, and
Yeah.
it's interesting.
I feel like this is like a lot of what we talked about today is such a fresh take on werewolves than what we've been
Yeah.
told a lot of the time. So it's just like really interesting to like kind of see how far they've come in pop culture to where they were like back to even like Greek mythology.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So
I believe in it.
I do too. So maybe you and I, after this, will run over to the park and see if we can find a werewolf to interview.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be a fun little time.
It'll be cute on TikTok.
Or maybe it's me. The sun's almost down. So.
Oh gosh, guys, help!
All right, guys. This was the first episode of the summer tapes. Gonna do a quick plug. Please follow us at the Mystery Files _.
Do it.
And we also now have merchandise.
Oh my gosh! Yes, we have merch. It's really cute.
Yes.
Go check it out.
You
Get
can
that
find
tote
us
bag.
on, where can you find it?
Redbubble. Oh my gosh.
Redbubble, under the Mystery Files.
I was like, find what?
We have a new logo as well by our great friend Jules, who did an amazing job on it.
So cute.
Yeah,
they're
so
at Jules
please...
Drools on IG. Check them out.
Jules.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So if you want to buy some merchandise, please send us pictures or let us know. We would love to see it. I know I already got mine and I'm excited.
I'm so excited. It's really cute.
So we will see you guys for the second episode of the summer tapes with Tiffany.
Hey, party. We'll see you then, guys.
See ya. Goodbye.
Bye. Stay scary, home slices.
Ow.
Ow.